this is Chelsea from Sew and Glow Quilting, and welcome to the next video in my beginner Adobe Illustrator for Quilters video. In this video, I'm going to show you how I designed this quilt in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to show you how to take images of the actual panels, put them into an Illustrator file in the actual size they are. Then I'm going to show you how I did the sashing and how I took pictures of the fabric and made swatches so I can see what the sashing is going to look like with the fabric that I chose. You can see in this screen what the outcome is going to be, and I'm so excited to show you everything that I did here. All right, come with me. So the first thing I want to do when I'm designing this panel quilt is I measured out the size of the panels. So I already have them, I cut them out, and I know exactly how big they are. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool. If I just click on my canvas anywhere, you'll see I get this dialog box and I can tell it exactly the size of my panels. I don't have to guess because I know how big they are already. And they are 17¼ inches by 21 inches. And I'll say okay. And now I am going to need 4 of these because there are 4 panels. And I want them all to be ready for when I put the image in here so I can just start manipulating and I don't have to worry about really anything. Okay, so I want to make 4 of these because I have 4 panels. And if you want to make a copy of any asset in Illustrator, just hold down the Alt key and you can see my mouse actually changes to sort of like a double thing. This is telling me that I can make a copy here. So I'm just holding down Alt, I'm clicking on this object, and you can see I bring it over and I made a copy. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, you can actually do Control-C, Control-V on your keyboard. That does the exact same thing. But the really cool thing about making a copy with the Alt key is that I can actually select 2 objects and then copy them at the same time. So there we go. I've got all my panels ready and set. And now I'm actually gonna go to the internet to find my pictures of these quilt patterns. So it's kind of an older pattern, so I was only able to find these on Etsy. But basically, if I just right click my mouse and say copy image, and then I come back over to Illustrator, I can either right click and paste or say Control V, and it's going to paste my image here. And I'm just gonna stick it here for now, and then I'm gonna get all of the rest of them. So I have that one, now I need this one, Control V, and then I'm gonna grab, oops, where am I at? There we go. And then I'm gonna grab the next one, copy image, paste, all right. And then I have one more to bring over and copy image, and then Control V. And now I have all of these ready to go. And I'm gonna actually move them around because where did I put them? I put them like this. All right. So now I'm going to change the background of the 2 panels that actually have the solid background. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to select one of my rectangles. I'm going to go over to the eyedropper tool and select that. And you can see my selection is still there. So I can see this highlight. This box is selected, and I'm going to just click on the eyedropper tool on this background color, and now it's the exact same color. And so to deselect the image that I have now, I'm taking the selection tool and I'm clicking off of that graphic. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing with this blue background. I'm going to, with the selection tool, I'm going to click on this rectangle and then use the eyedropper tool for this blue. And now I can actually resize with the selection tool. If you hold down the shift key and resize, you'll see it's going to keep the dimensions intact because I don't want it to get all wonky and weird, all right? So when you're resizing, hold down the shift key, and then as soon as I bring it over, now it is pretty much the perfect size, but what I wanna do, oh wait, there we go. See, now you can see it is actually not the same size. I want to make sure that I am using the exact right size, and that's what this rectangle is for. So I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to select Control G. That's going to group my selection. So no matter what happens when I click on this, if I'm using the selection tool, it's going to grab both of these. And that just ensures that I have the right size, because I don't want this to get wonky. I'm actually going to use this document to make sure that I have enough fabric for all of my choices. I'm just going to do the same thing with all of these other graphics, all these other images. All right, you can see I want it to be the same size. So I'm just gonna work around with the sizing here, and you can see it doesn't have to be exactly perfect inside, just as long as they're together, so I get an idea of what it's going to look like. But really, the size is the most important thing here for me. So select, okay, I'm using the shift key again, and then Control G, that's grouping, and I have one more left to do. Here, Control G. All right, now I have all of my panels and they're ready to go, which is really cool. So I'm gonna bring them over to my quilt. Now I have this sized as 60 by 70 inches, and you're gonna see in the end, it's not gonna end up being this size, but this is a perfect canvas for just starting because I'm not really sure yet how big this is going to be. All right, so I just want these guys in here loosely because next I am going to add some sashing. And as you can see from my finished product, I really like how the sashing turned out, and I want to use different sizes so it doesn't feel so same. And we're gonna get a little bit of, dimension and movement with a different size of sashing. So I am going to grab my rectangle tool, come over here, and now I want this to be 3 inches wide. So I'm going to come over to the properties panel. With width, I'm gonna say 3 inches. Now I don't know how tall this is going to be yet, so I'm gonna actually make some changes as I size this. But basically, I'm gonna start lining things up. And you can see the really cool thing with Illustrator is it's trying to help you out. So as I move this around, you can see it's kind of saying, all right, well, you can intersect with this, you can intersect with this, you can be in the center here. I wanna be in the center of my canvas. So I'm just gonna move it here. And for a second, it actually said center, which is really cool. So I can tell that is the exact center of my canvas. So I'm gonna bring this panel over so it touches. I'm gonna bring this panel over, and you can see it kind of snaps as I get closer. And it's giving me this little guide to say, all right, you are right here butting up next to this graphic. So I'm gonna actually resize this to be the same height as my panel over here. So that's actually 21 inches, and I can check again here in the properties. I can see exactly how big this is. All right. And so I want to now go across the bottom of these two. So I'm actually going to make another copy, and I just, as I was dragging, I'm touching the Alt button on my keyboard. Now I'm actually going to rotate this, and you can see if I bring my mouse over to the side, it's trying to help me out. Do you want to resize this? Do you want to move it around? You can see now it's got this arrow that's indicating now we can actually use this to turn around this image. So holding the shift button to keep it shifting at normal angles. So 0 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees. And that's where I want. I don't want it to be just almost 90 degrees. I want it to be exactly 90 degrees. So I'm gonna bring this back over here, and you can see Illustrator is helping me out. It's saying with these pink lines, okay, now you're lined up to the edge, and that's exactly where I wanna be here. And then I'm gonna click and drag this graphic to align to the right side of this black panel. Now, if you're not really sure if we got it quite there, because it looks like it's not quite lining up, I like to use the zoom tool and just click it a couple times. Okay, yeah, see, I am not lined up. And it's nice just to go in every once in a while and check, make sure that you're lining things up right, okay? So, oh, and now you see, now I can see that pink line again, and Illustrator is giving me that hint. Okay, now you're lined up. All right, so now I'm zoomed way, way in, and I don't want to have to click the unzoom button a million times. If you actually come over here to the hand tool and double click, you'll see the entire canvas again. That's my favorite trick. That's one of my favorite tricks with Illustrator. All right, so now I'm going to make a copy of this shape and bring it down here. And you can see Illustrator's helping me out again. It's saying you're still centered, and now you're intersecting to the bottom of this. All right, and now I want to bring this panel over, and I'm gonna bring this panel over. All right, now you can see behind me, this is not the color I chose in the end. So I'm going to select 1, 2, 3 of these rectangles, and I'm gonna come over here to the eyedropper tool again, and I'm gonna try to figure out what exactly color I want to use. All right, now I just clicked around a couple of times. Do I want it to be red? I really love this peach color. I think it's super beautiful, and so I'm gonna choose that. And this is actually also a great way to choose your fabrics. You could work on your quilt, figure out what kind of colors you want, and then literally you could save it on your phone and take it to the quilt shop and look at your colors that you selected. And you can bring, if you have the panels, you can bring that with you too. This is a really great way to color match. All right. I am going to continue my sashing. I'm going to make another copy. And let's see, this is not quite lined up. I want to make sure we're lined up. Right, Illustrator is telling me, yes, we're good. Oops. And I'm just going to click and drag this correct size. Now, I'm not really sure if this lined up on the top. I don't think it did. Did it? It did. Okay. Just like to choose. Just make sure we're good here. We can use the hand tool again and see I am not lined up here on the bottom. I want to be. All right, so we're just gonna line it up to, oh, it doesn't want to go. All right, there we go. Now we're lined up. Okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. I already know this is the right size, so I'm just gonna copy this over, okay? And now I want to do the same thing on the bottom. Good. Great. All right, so that's my first round of sashing done already. That looks really good. I'm actually really happy with that. I'm gonna select everything, and you can either use a select tool and click and drag over everything, or you can click on your keyboard Control A, that's in Windows. And I'm just gonna align this to the center, and you can see Illustrator's helping me out again. It's saying you're intersecting in the center, horizontally and vertically. And I'm actually gonna group this because I'm not gonna make any more changes, and this will actually help me keep everything nice and tidy. Oh yeah, see, and center. Perfect, that's where I want to be. Now, my next sashing, I am going to do the blue fabric, and it's going to be 2 inches. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing. But at first, I'm going to actually select this blue because I don't want to get confused by using the same color. So I'm going to select my rectangle tool again, and I'm going to start to draw this. And because I don't want to struggle with the size, I'm going to come over here to properties again, highlight the width, and select 2 inches. Now the height, I'm going to change over here because I want it to be the exact right height. And so I'll bring this over, and I'm going to manipulate this in the same way that I did the peach sashing. All right, I'm just going to do this quickly. Oops. You see, Illustrator really wants to help you out by, oops. And now see, I'm clicking this, I'm resizing this. It's trying to change the width again, the height rather, now it's the height. So I'm gonna come back over here and say, no, I want it to be 2 inches. All right. And that looks pretty good. I'm gonna come over here. All right, so now I have my blue sashing ready. But I don't want it to just be a solid blue. I want this to be the fabric that goes along with this panel. I'm gonna show you how to make a swatch. So I'm gonna come back over here to my web browser, and this is the best picture I could find. I'm gonna say copy image, and I'm gonna bring it back over to Illustrator and Control V or paste. All right, I'm gonna open up my swatches panel, and you can see Illustrator does a great job of pre-populating all kinds of fun stuff for us. You really don't need any of it though. You're going to take this image that we just saved and click it and drag it right into the swatches. And you can see right here, Illustrator has made a swatch for us. I'm going to show you how to use it right now. So I'm just going to click on this shape that we made, that's sashing, and I'm coming over to swatches, and I'm literally just going to click on this new swatch. And you can see, boom, oh my gosh, it looks amazing. And now I can tell, all right, this is what it's going to look like when it's an actual quilt. All right, now I'm just going to select all of the other sashing. And when I'm doing this, I'm clicking one and then hold down the shift key, click the other one and the other one. And now we've selected the other 3 and simply click on the new swatch we made. Doesn't it look great? Oh my gosh, it's so exciting how powerful this is once you get a hang of it. So this is what it's gonna look like, and I think that looks really amazing. Now, for the next set of sashing, I'm gonna use red. And I'm gonna build this in the exact same way. And for the red, and as you can see, it's already populating the swatch that I have selected already. And don't worry about that. I'm gonna show you how to select a new color. And for the width of this, I'm actually gonna just do 1 inch because this is gonna be a tiny little sashing, which is really fun. And so I'm gonna use the eyedropper tool, and I'm gonna come in here and get this red from this cardinal because I think it's really, really pretty. And I think that red is gonna pop right there and make it look just amazing. All right, so I'm just gonna take a second to line all of this up. All right, so there's my red sashing. And now I'm gonna do one final round of sashing, and it's gonna be blue. I'm gonna make this 3 inches wide because I want a nice big border at the end. And I don't know, for me, this blue is not really cutting it. So I'm actually gonna double click right here, the fill in stroke. This is the fill. And I'm going to manually select a different blue because I don't think this blue that's on the screen is really quite the blue we're looking for. So I'm just gonna come over here to the color picker, and select a blue that I feel like will really make this pop. Say okay. Now that looks amazing. Now I'm just gonna continue finishing the sashing. All right, and now, because when I try to change the shape on this using the regular selection tool, it's kind of skewing the size for me, and I don't really like that. It's kind of annoying. So I'm going to use a direct selection tool, and I'm going to select these 2 anchor points at the very end here. And you can see I'm only going to be changing the shape from these anchor points, all right? And I explain anchor points and the select and direct select tool in another video. So if you need help on that, just go check that out. And I'm gonna just bring this down, and you can see, oh, that worked out so much better than the way I was doing it before. All right, so I'm just gonna copy this over here. All right, perfect. And now I only have a ½ yard for my binding, and I'm a little bit worried that it might not be enough. So I'm actually going to add on the binding here so I can see how much I'm going to need. And now, when you do binding, I like to do 2½ inches, but when you sew it on and bring it around the front, you're really only seeing about 1 inch. So I'm actually gonna make this 2½ inches because I want to know how much binding I need, and even though it's going to be finished at around 1 inch, I need 2½ inches. So I'm just gonna copy and paste here, this guy, and I'm gonna change the width to 2½ because that's going to be my binding. And now I'm gonna show you again how to make a swatch. All right, so I'm gonna come over here, and it's not this one I want this one. All right, so this is actually the fabric I've chosen for my binding. Copy image, come back over to Illustrator, and I'm going to Control V. And now I have this beautiful fabric that is going to be my binding. And I'm going to click and drag over to the swatches. And again, now I have a beautiful swatch of this specific fabric so I can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to select the binding strip that I already created, and I'm going to click on and swatch. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so pretty. Well, I already know what it's going to look like when it's done because I've already done this quilt. But if I was just designing this, then I would be able to see, oh my gosh, this is going to be so pretty. All right, so I'll just finish this up quickly the way we did everything else. Yes. Okay, and you can see I'm actually going over part of my canvas that I created earlier, and that is not a problem at all. All right, I'm not worried about that. I'll show you how to resize that. All right, so now I have exact measurements of how to cut my fabric, and I can tell how much I'm going to need by just literally measuring what I've done here. And that's really cool. So for my binding, I'm just selecting the top, and then I can actually write down, all right, so it's 2½ inches. We already established that, but the width of this is 60 inches. So when I start to do my math, I can say, all right, how many strips do I need of 2½ inches to get 60 inches plus 63 plus 63 plus again the 60. And then I just have to do the math there and say, okay, this is how many strips I need. And I know exactly how much fabric I need, right? And I'm gonna do another video where I show you exactly how to do that on the screen and how to do all the math. I'm kind of running out of time here, so I'm gonna skip that. But quickly, because you can see my canvas is not quite the right size. It's a little bit bigger on the sides. It's a little bit too tall on the top. So I'm going to change the artboard size. Now this is the size of my canvas that I established when I created a new document. And if I use the artboard tool, you can see it's just called Artboard 1. This is the actual size of my quilt. And if I want to resize this to be the size I have here, all I have to do is click and drag, and there we go. Now, if I save this as a PDF or save this as a JPEG or some other format, now it's going to keep all of my quilts in one little document. So it's going to be one page of a PDF, one JPEG, one PNG, or whatever you do here. And I'm not going to lose any of that, when I save it down. I really hope that you enjoyed this video on how to design a quilt in Illustrator. We went over a lot of different things, a lot of different tools. If you need a little extra help, you can go back. If you need to rewatch this, please do. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and the little bell. That'll give you notifications if I do new videos. Yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this and all the other videos I'm working hard to produce for you guys. And yeah, happy quilting. Bye.